John Armwood reporting with Tunnel Vision Sports, and I'm here with a very 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 excited guest. Jersey native. In 2018, he was an Irvington High School graduate. New Jersey native. He'll make his professional boxing debut on June 21st at the Prudential Center in Newark. Competing in the welterweight division, he's been ranked number one in the country and has been national champion three, four times, while also, earning his bachelor's degree in sports management. He became a graduate assistant and earned his master's degree in sports administration at Dell State University. Give it up for my man, Muadh Abdus-Salaam. I'm happy to have you on, brother. I'm happy to have you on.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you having me on, man. How you doing?
I'm all right, brother. I'm all right. Many people know you as Nim. Many people know you as Nim, but just kind of been following your journey a little bit, and off camera we talked a little, and realized we had a lot of mutual friends. So I'm glad we could connect, and you have the opportunity to share your story, man. A lot of people respect it, and I know what you mean for the city. So I appreciate you coming on, brother.
Yep. Up.
Yeah,
Anytime.
man. Just to kick it off, man, because it's a lot to get to. I want to start just simply where it all started. We know you're representing New Jersey. We know you carry Jersey on your back. However, for people who don't know, where did you grow up specifically in New Jersey to start this all off?
I grew up in New Jersey, but I also had split some time in Irvington. I lived over there for a little bit, but uh, no, Irvington is basically North, if you really would want to say it. It's just another attachment to it. So, yeah,
Cool.
North Jersey though.
All that for people who don't know, Essex County is very connected. All that, I mean, you're 2, 3 blocks away from different towns. It's all really connected.
Yeah.
So it's all part of the Essex family. But with that being said, prior to ever putting on a boxing glove, what sports did you play growing up, and how did these sports help you become the boxer you are today?
So I actually started off boxing. That was the first sport I ever did start off with. I
Okay.
was about 3 years old when I first got into the gym, but I also played football. Yeah, I tried basketball and I like around 5, 6 years old, but it just wasn't for me.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but football though, I've been playing football since about 7, 8 years old.
Hmm.
Um, I wrestled in high school. I ran track in high school. I played baseball for a little bit as a kid from like 8 to 12.
Hmm.
But it was mainly boxing and football. So with football, it just give me a lot more of a that drive, that grit, that willpower. Football, it's a gritty sport. My positions that I played was running back and linebacker. So I was in the trenches in the mud every play.
Of course.
So that translated over to boxing with just my demeanor and how I carry myself. But
Mhm.
boxing always also translated over into football, just how tough I was.
Of course. So there's a parallel between the both, essentially.
Yeah.
With that said, though, I mean, you found a lot of success on the football field. A lot of people, some people know you strictly from football.
Mhm.
Outside of the boxing, you've been able to find a lot of success and play at a Division 1 level. What would you say? Would you say your first love is boxing, or would you say, you kind of split between both, or you stepped away from boxing and found your love back to it? Just to kind of split between both. It seems like you're really passionate about both.
So that was a debate I had all them years while I was, doing the whole dual athlete thing up until I was about 16. So all them years I had a debate like, damn, do I love boxing more than I love football? Or do I love football? Like, which one's my first love? I'm really passionate about both. Um, but me taking this time off, playing, getting my degree and stuff, that just gave me more of a love for boxing, opened my eyes to a lot more. Like I can watch boxing. That's the only sport that I watch. I played football for a long time, but I won't sit down and just turn on a football game. You know what I
Really?
mean? Like I can tell the difference now as I grew up, a little more wiser, understand a little more, see things differently. Boxing is definitely the love.
I was gonna say we had some exciting boxing matches this weekend, and to be honest, it's tough, man, because a boxing match could last you 30 seconds or it could last you 2 hours,
Yeah.
and it's for you to be able the duality of that being able to sit through the entirety of it, and I'm assuming not lose any interest or anything. Do you think when you view boxing, you're viewing it from a different lens versus your average viewer? Are you viewing like the techniques? Are you viewing the kind of game plan they came in with. Can kind of go into that a little bit. What does that look like for you, and how does that help you translate into a better boxer as well?
So the average person that's watching boxing, right, today, what they looking for? Second round knockout,
Mm-hmm.
some that's gonna put somebody to sleep, somebody get hurt fast. Instead of really looking at boxing for what it is, that styles wins fights. Everybody got a different style. What may work for somebody may not work for somebody else. So like when I'm watching boxing, I'm watching the feet. I'm watching their tendencies, their mannerisms, how are they acting when they get frustrated? How is somebody reacting to a jab a certain way? Or if someone's doing the throw off this way or that way, how is that person going to be able to move and counter that, manipulate it? I try to see where people IQs are. I look for the small intricate moves, you know what I'm saying? So um I study and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because then when I'm in the ring, I'm able to program and download what that my opponent is doing too. So, when I look at it from that lens, I look at it from a more strategic, scientific lens.
Absolutely, absolutely. Looking at it from a detail, small for very nuanced and detailed. That makes sense. A lot of perfectionists and a lot of the professionals. That's the difference. That's what
Yeah.
makes a professional and amateur slightly different. They just view it differently and they're looking for different cues. So that makes a lot of sense. Before we dive, because I'm really excited to hear more about just kind of your breakdown and how you're breaking it down now. What inspired you personally? Who or what inspired you to pick up the gloves after having an extremely successful football career?
So I would say this was always the plan.
Okay.
So my father, me and my parents and stuff, my father, we was always talking about the school and how I get to college and stuff. So when it was time to make that decision, I'm like, I'm gonna just stick with football for right now and take a little break off. He was
Mhm.
like, yo, boxing will always be there. You know what I'm saying? You just take this time to go get your degree though. Like that's something that you're gonna need to back up on. So when it was time, when I graduated my bachelor's and undergrad, I just like, yo, I'm big right now from football. But I'm about to just cut some weight down. Watch this whole year. I'm gonna cut some weight down. I'm gonna get down to this. At that time, I was like 216. I'm like, I'm gonna get down to 185.
Mm.
I'm gonna start fighting again. Everybody like, you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I gets down to 185. Everybody like, all right, you still sure? I'm like, yo, I'm about to go down to 170 now. I'm gonna chop all this weight down to 170. So now while I'm getting my master's in school, I'm running. I had my own boxing gym. I made it my own boxing gym in my garage when I was in Delaware. So
Mm.
I was just grinding and chopping, got down to 170. I'm like, yo, look, told you I was ready. So that was always in the plan. But I just remember vividly though, like I'm sitting on the couch. Cause I remember just keep watching fights. I'm like, damn, I'm just watching it go by, watching it go by. These are people I done been around at national tournaments, or I've been in the gym with, or I done seen sparring and watching my little brother, the people that he done been around with, and they turned pro. So I'm just watching this go by. I'm like, I can't keep sitting here. So I'm literally watching uh Tank and Hector Garcia fight. And I text my little brother, I'm like, yo, I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I'm tired of just sitting here on the couch just watching it. Like it's time for me to really put this into the next gear. So he was just like, all right, go ahead, bro. Like, ain't nothing to it. Just get up and go get it. And then from there, we just going.
Mm. So it was a little bit of everything. It was a little bit of just your passion. It was a little bit of your brother kind of give you a kick in the butt. It was
Hmm.
your dad. It was a lot of people trying to, your support system kind of giving you that push a little bit.
Yeah, that support system major.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine. I can imagine, man. I do kind of want to. You mentioned chopping. You mentioned just resilience. Kind of just working your way back because people don't even know within that. That's a lot of patience. That's a lot of patience. Losing weight and stuff. Unless you're taking pills, unless you're taking supplements, it's not easy. Like, it's not an easy task, especially when you're losing weight and still trying to gain the muscle, but also keep your technique. You're chasing a master's degree. It's not easy. It's not an easy feat. So even the resiliency within that. Um, I want to applaud you for it, and I want to know, because many may not know, you left, you and your brother and your family, just in general, you guys left a huge legacy at Irvington High School, right? And a huge history behind it. How important or cool is that to be able to do for you? And what does that mean to you to leave such a rich history and just an impact on the city? Well, I know you represent Newark on your back. I mean, the reality is, you left your legacy at Irvington High School. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
The reality of just all that, how important is that for you? What does that mean to your family to just kind of have your name cemented in Irvington High School legacy?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely important, heavy because I played a lot. I played football majority of my football career as a kid in Irvington. I started off at Irvington Golden Knights. Um, that program that built me, that gave me a lot of character. The coaches, my father was around, so that was the foundation and the building stones to a lot of my character and what I had going on in Irvington. So that name, Nim, that's more of a household name because everybody knew me from that. So then when I come back to Irvington High School, everybody, I'm walking through the hallways, I'm getting, yo, you Nim? Oh, you Nim who always heard. Oh, nah, I finally see the face. So that was already like solidified in Irvington with the name Nim. So now me coming in there and having such the good career that I had with the team that we had, the coaches that we had, with the just the history that we was able to make. That definitely is something like that I hold near and dear because I'm able to just, be that example for everybody.
Absolutely, absolutely. This kind of leads me to your younger brother as well. I'm be honest. I mean, just a personal. I graduated from Rutgers, man. I wish we could have stayed home. I know you guys are both Jersey to the
Hmm.
to the day you died, but your brother, it leads me to speak about him. He's leaving an amazing legacy behind at Western Michigan University as well. I know you ended up doing your thing at Dell State, but what can you say about honestly just both of you kind of carrying the legacy of your last name, carrying the legacy of Irvington High School, but more so just kind of you guys both finding your own identities within, within your own sense and just kind of finding success within both of you, where you guys could come together and kind of just look at the end of the day what you guys have both built.
Right. So I always know like my biggest thing is transcendence. It's a lot of examples that wasn't given and shown to us. So I just made sure that I was always making sure I set the bar just enough for him to keep getting there. Because I always want him to be better than me, you know what I'm saying? So, and I want any generation after that for them to excel past what I do, what he do. So that was always my mission. And then I just always remember, back when we was kids, my father like, yo, y'all don't need to be fighting. Y'all all y'all got. Like literally on this earth right here, y'all all y'all got, and y'all got my last name. So y'all gonna always be together. So me and him, that's my best friend right there. Now, like we inseparable. So just with us having this dream and me setting that bar for him to keep chasing it, I go to college, get the degree. Now it's time to turn pro. So he's back into the gym now. That he graduated last weekend. He's
Okay.
back into the gym full steam ahead now. So he did his pro debut for football about 2 months ago.
So,
But
yep.
he's back into the gym, getting it rolling, trying to get ready so he can get his pro debut. So like, just me and him always sticking together, not letting nothing come in between us. That definitely will play the big part in it.
Would you say a part of that, while sticking together and having that unity, sometimes it's really nice to have someone to kind of push you as well. In a way, I'm not saying you guys are competing, but I'm pretty sure as brothers, we always have, there's always a little
That,
competition. If
that,
he's
that
in the gym,
competition, this
yeah, yeah.
family is super competitive. Like even down to my sister.
Oh yeah,
Like
okay, okay,
everything is competitive here. She played basketball at Rutgers Newark, so like
okay.
everything with us is competitive, but it's more so of that healthy competition. You know what I'm saying? Not the hate, not the envy, but that healthy competition that make each other better competition.
Absolutely, and that's helped you guys excel and reach certain heights. And, like you said, kind of trying to transcend one another as well. Is that
Mhm.
you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to well, one, you kind of spoke about it here just slightly a few minutes ago, but you mentioned also in another feature, this was always the plan, even after getting your degree. Which leads me to believe, was football just essentially a side mission for you, or how long have you envisioned this for? And has everything come into fruition as you imagined it by the will of Allah? Because I know
Yeah,
you and your family are extremely religious as well. So,
yeah,
you
Muslims,
know,
yep.
you know,
With the permission of Allah, I was able to make a plan. Like when I graduated, right, with my master's, my father was like, yo, look, a lot of people that you grew up with wasn't able to create a plan and build a plan. And you made a plan and you stuck to that plan. So like um in eighth grade, I was at a camp for football. And they was breaking down their percentages, your possibilities and everything as far as going to college, playing at Division 1 level, Division 2 level, Division 3 level. Then they show your possibilities and percentages of making it to the NFL or even getting a call to a draft or anything like that. So at eighth grade, I'm like, you know what? I remember my father telling me as a kid, like, yo, bro, you need a backup plan. Are you going to go to college? Don't rely on sports because you're going to need a backup plan. You're going to need that degree. You're going to need something, some skills, or something that'll separate you from everybody else because, sports ain't gonna always be there.
look,
So in eighth grade, I made a decision. I'm like, all right, look, I'm 5'7". I'm not really going to grow too tall.
mhm.
And I know my odds as far as making it to the league for football, especially with the positions that I play, running back and linebacker. I'm just gonna use this to get the degree and then turn pro. Right, this is gonna be able to pay for that degree, and then I'll just turn pro with boxing. So
Mhm.
that's what was always the plan.
And how important for you, or how, want to ask you specifically, how, I guess, fulfilling is it for you to kind of see your plan come into fruition? Even your
Oh,
plan with your siblings and stuff like that. Them transcend, you complete all your goals that you're doing. How fulfilling, and like what does this mean to you to see all this come into fruition?
sometimes I gotta step back from always being caught up in
Hmm.
what I got going. What's next? What's this? What's this? Sometimes I gotta step back and see and visualize and be like, all right, cool. This is really happening now. Like, this is happening now. But I don't usually be looking at it that way because I'm still in it. When you're in it, you still grinding, you're mental, you just constantly working, trying to get better. What's next? What's next? What's next? So my lady, she even has me like, she's like, you have to like really, realize and see and notice like what you have done in your life and where you're going. Like you literally been asking for this for the past 2, 3 years, praying for this. Now it's here. You know what I'm saying? So like um it definitely is exhilarating though.
Absolutely. I bet. I was about to say, especially when it comes at you fast.
Yeah.
At you fast, man, and now it's here, man.
Oh, yeah.
Which leads me to, kind of, I want to get into kind of what your camp and just your preparation for June 21st. I want to ask you, how's camp currently, and who are you currently training with prior to June 21st?
Camp has turned up.
James, okay, okay,
Turned up. It got real. So
yeah, yeah,
my father's my trainer, Muhammad Abdus-Salaam.
okay.
He's my trainer, but we just chopping and working. We got Keith Cologne that's in the gym with us.
Mhm, mhm.
There's also a his Albanian Christian Prenga. So we real, deep. And then my little brother, he's back. So that's what I got going on in camp with me. My father got a couple other up and coming pro fighters too. So we just working.
I was gonna say, is it kind of iron? Excuse me, is it kind of an iron sharpen iron situation in the gym, or because I'm assuming you're training with these guys, they're giving you techniques. Some of these guys are a little more experienced than you, or maybe sometimes you're probably giving them techniques. Is it kind of a situation you guys are all trying to get better?
It's
Day
literally,
by day?
yeah, it's literally an iron sharpen iron kind of thing. Like somebody may have an eye for one thing, and another person may have an eye for another thing. That's what I was saying. Like, styles win fights. So a certain person with a certain style, with a certain eye and IQ for something may be different from mine. So, we're able to bounce things off the wall to each other.
and ultimately helps the fighter in general. So that makes
Mhm.
a lot of sense. I want to ask you what has been the emphasis this training camp for you personally to improve on, and how much do you trust in your coaches, and how much have you truly felt this camp has done for you?
Well, to improve on, I've been out of the gym for 9 years, so it's really just getting back to that rhythm,
Gotcha.
that walk 'em down, that bully ball that I'm used to. So, it's there. It's all like riding a bike. Once you just hop on, you pedal for 2, 3 minutes, and then you back rolling. So it's still there. So we're just working on that, pulling that out. And as far as trust, like it's my father. Don't nobody else. I came from him.
Yeah,
Don't nobody else want what's best for me other than him. So, I'm trusting full in everything that he's teaching me and guiding me to do.
absolutely. Like you just kind of mentioned, you haven't stepped out there in almost a decade, essentially, or maybe you've been training, but as far as like trying to really go pro and push it to a certain level, it's almost been a decade. Would you say your style going into this fight? Are you trying to bring that aggression back where you are trying to walk them down, and you're trying to brawl out there, or are you trying to execute certain things in this fight? What are you personally
Um,
trying to display, essentially?
um, I'm still going to always come forward, still going to have that same energy, but it's just a little different now that it's not the amateurs. I understand and uh notice that you can't just go out there, throw 4 or 5 punches, another 4 or 5 punches, another 4 or 5 punches.
Yeah,
Just throwing punches willingly and brawling
yeah,
because you're trying to score points for the amateurs.
hmm
So now it's more so you bring that same type of style, that same energy, but you still got to be more defensively aware because you grown now. You're fighting grown men. You got 8 ounce gloves on, so
hmm
you got to be more defensively aware. Your IQ got to be a little more sharp. If I'm doing something, why am I doing it, and what is it going to set up for me on the next one? Not just going out there just throwing punches. You know what I'm saying? So
your punch is leading to your next punch. That's kind of the mindset going into this.
yeah, yeah,
You're just playing offense, playing offense and defense.
yeah. Literally at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I did want to. I mean, because this is. I think this is a big. Like this is a lot bigger than I think a lot of people understand. Like when you step away from the ring, or even if you step away from the field, if you're playing football, you step away from the field 3 4 months, you may lose it. Like you may lose that step. You may lose whatever technique that you usually have. You stepped away for a while. Like we just said, almost a decade. So coming from coaching, coming from even playing football, how big of the adjustment has this been for you? And how have you embraced that adjustment and preparing for June 21st?
I would say the adjustment hasn't been crazy or anything like that because I was always still coming into the gym throughout those times. Like if I'm coming home from a break for college or something, I'll come to the gym.
You're still active, essentially.
I'm
You
touching the mitts a little bit. My mental, I always try to keep the mental sharp, listen to my father's coaching other people, watching boxing, watching the gym. So I was able to stay sharp mentally and not too far away from the game.
got you.
Um, Me and my brother, every time we see each other, we shadow boxing with each other. So
Mhm.
that adjustment wasn't too crazy. It was just the small things, the minor things that we was talking about when it comes to being a professional. So, I've been back fully in the swing of boxing things for the past 2, 3 years, as far as, just getting back in shape and stuff.
Mhm.
And then once I got back into the gym about a year ago, it's just been about them small, small details. But, that just comes with the territory.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's kind of like riding a bike, kind of like riding a bike. And I wasn't aware that I thought you completely stepped away. So you kind of still you've had one foot in the door a little bit when you come back from
Yeah.
break, tapping in and still you've been around it. I was aware or I was under the impression that you like stepped away completely. Like you wasn't, you maybe watched it and stuff, but you weren't in the actual gym anymore. So
Oh
that's a
no,
little
yeah, I
different.
was still around. Cause my little brother, he still was still fighting at the time. He took a little break off to go get his degree
Gotcha.
too, but he still was fighting. We was out in Ireland and stuff like that for his fights. So I was still there.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were still around. Okay. Well, that's
Hmm.
good. Okay. So that changes a little bit. Um, while you've been training with a lot of skilled people, I know you mentioned Cologne, and I know he's got a lot of recognition after his last couple of fights. He's been performing well. Have you had the opportunity to speak with essentially what people call the face of boxing or the face of New Jersey boxing, Shador Stevenson? And if so, has he provided you with any insight or encouragement before any fight? Have you had the
Which
opportunity to speak with any of those guys?
well, like Shakur Stevenson, yeah. I haven't spoken to him, as of lately, but when we was in our earlier teens and stuff, before he got on to the Olympic, the JO Olympic team, the travel team, we was all around in the gym together, all the elite heat. So just traveling in the gym, sparring, things like that. We was all able to pick up certain things from each other, but as of lately, nah, we haven't spoken.
Let me ask you this then: if you haven't had an opportunity to speak with Shakur, because I'm assuming he's got to be a different boxer than he was when you guys were teenagers, right? Versus same with you. Um, has there been any advice given from any current fighter or active fighter that that you've been given that's changed your fight and changed your style forever?
Nah, not as of recently now. Because I'm really everybody really just now seeing that I'm back. When the
Right.
flyer dropped and for the pro debut,
Yeah.
everybody just now starting to see like, oh, them back fighting, he back rolling. So now everybody's starting to see it now. So
Oh, so it's
you
still
know,
fresh essentially because that
it's
was
still
just a couple of
fresh.
weeks ago. Got you.
Yeah, yeah, it's still fresh.
Got you, got you, got you. Okay, all right. So, as you get out, like we said, it's a small world. As you get out there, people, especially come near the fight, and once the fight happens, I'm pretty sure people extend their olive branch and stuff. Because Jersey,
Real small, real tight. Yeah, I mean like Vito Melnicki though, like that's real close. He real close
yeah,
to family. So I
okay,
mean, my father was his trainer at some point too. So uh
mm,
everything's real tight, real close knit around here in Jersey. It's a lot of fighters out in Jersey that we know.
gotcha. Of course, especially if your dad's a trainer and stuff. I mean, I can only imagine who he's been connected to and stuff. And
Hmm.
let me ask you this: are there any boxers that you viewed growing up that helped you kind of model your fighting style after, or general? Did you just have some favorites growing up?
Yeah, I had a couple of favorites. I actually had a lot of favorites. I watched all the fights, man. I watched Heavy Floyd all the time. Like that Floyd and Zab fight, that's legendary.
Yep.
Um,
One
Sweet Pea,
that's one of my favorites too.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Bernard Hopkins.
Yep.
I watched the Pacquiaos, the Cottos, the
Mhm.
Margaritos, everybody. I didn't watch them all. The
Do you take a little bit from everyone, or do you see something you like and you just implement it in your fighting, or you just kind of just taking mental reps at that point and just like I like this, I like that.
mental reps. I like to listen to people talk too. I like to hear what their perspective is and their philosophies are. I could take my father always told me you can learn anything, even from a fool, you can learn something from. So like I try to pull things from everything. I try to listen first before speaking. I try to analyze and see what's going on so that I can pull this from here and from there. I even do that with fighters now though. So like, just boxing in general.
Boxing, okay. Would you say that's where you get a lot of not inspiration, but would you say a lot of your creativity occasionally, because obviously you're in there and boxing's an art, while you're trying to figure out the win, you're going in with a technique, but there is sometimes you may see someone slip something and throw something that you didn't think was possible, or they shot something from a crazy angle, so does that watching it and just kind of being around it, sometimes does that help your creativity as well on on being a better fighter?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Okay.
just like watching film, anything, any film, film breakdown, any sports, just like watching film. You go sit down and you watch football film, you breaking down the play by play, what this guy doing, that guy doing. So, um, it definitely helps out. And then just listen to my trainer, my father, he's always like, yeah, you gotta always be creative. You gotta get creative there. Go in there, relax, have fun, and just be creative. You know what I'm saying? So, what you're doing, that's going to set up the next thing. Or It's no more just throwing punches at somebody. You got to understand what you're doing, what's their tendencies, and when you do this thing, and what's next after that.
Hmm, okay. Would you say? Because I know there's been for years a huge debate in between a creative fighter, a fighter that kind of goes out there and relies on the creativity to kind of mold the fight, versus a technique fighter. And sometimes you can see it within the style of fight where someone's more loose and they're more they're more unorthodox versus a guy you could tell is very technically sound, robotic, essentially. Ideally you want to mix both, but who would you say is the more dangerous fighter of the two?
More dangerous fighter. It's kind of a double-edged sword with that one because you have somebody that's going in there fluent and creative. You don't know what he coming with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No clue.
His countering could be a little better, but then you always have somebody that's technically sound. Somebody that's 100% locked in and technically sound is dangerous. Like he know your tendencies too, because he's studying you too. So, it's kind of like a double-edged sword with that one.
Okay.
Um, because the people that's more technically sound, they more disciplined.
That's true.
They're going to be a lot more disciplined. So, you know, they want to make sure that they doing the things right and making sure that they got your style down right.
Mm,
So, it's definitely ideal to try to mix the both though.
I see what you're saying. One is crafting this fight around specifically you.
Hmm.
That's tough. That's always tough to beat. That's always tough to beat. Despite already leaving your mark in several other fields, whether it be academics, whether it be athletics, career wise, whatever the case is, what would you like your legacy to be as a boxer when it's all said and done?
I would say I would like it to be somebody that was patient. Um, his will and his spirit was just, something great, big. His hard work was something that was unmatched, and a family man, somebody that just wanted to make sure that he transcended his family, made sure that his family was okay, um, that he was that example for anybody that needed an example, and that he was just, a good guy.
Ooh, absolutely. There's a fun question for you. I mean, look, man, I'm just as excited. Predictions are always the greatest part of fights to see, what comes to fruition. But what can we expect on your debut on the 21st, man? And how important is this matchup for your legacy?
What you would expect is, I would say, I like to call it bully ball. That's all. That's what I would like to just say, man. Bully ball, and it definitely solidifies and set the tone for to come next. So the legacy, the journey, everything, it sets the tone for it.
Absolutely.
Excited.
For people at home, the bully ball is a basketball term, man. That means that boy's about to go in there and he might try to put this one away, man. He try and put this kid away. That's what that means for people at home that may not know. And just for, look, man, you got a huge impact. You and just your family as well has a huge impact on New Jersey. Um, and just in general, however many people you may have touched, for anyone following your journey or any New Jersey kid growing up in similar circumstances or similar backgrounds, what advice or words do you have for those kids? And, you know, what can you give them to kind of help them keep going to try and possibly either, like you said, transcend your progress and stuff, or just be successful or just as successful in this world?
Yeah, I would just say if you can't stay motivated, just to stay consistent. It's okay to have friends. It's okay to have friends, right? But just understand and know that 5 to 30 seconds of your life can change your life drastically. So you gotta always think before you make any decisions, and just know that it's cool to stay on track. It's okay to have friends that's not doing something. It's okay to have friends that is, but it's it's okay and it's cool to get the good grades. It's okay and it's cool to go to make sure you going to practice and you taking care of family and that you have a plan. So just understand and know that outside fun, all that stuff is going to be there as long as you staying consistent and you get that stuff out the way at a younger age. a lot of benefits and things will come to fruition because, I done seen the distractions. I done made a decision to not be a part of the distraction, and 30 seconds later, something was completely drastically done happen. So, and I got friends in areas that we don't want to be, friends that's gone, and that ain't, we're no longer friends anymore. So, just make sure you just stay consistent, stick to the plan, and stay patient. Make your journey, and don't match your journey up to nobody else.
I just got one follow up question with that, just for people who may not have understood, or they may not understand how important morals are. Because a lot of the things that you're saying, that comes with having discipline, having morals, and it's never easy to do the right thing. A lot of what you were saying is kind of the doing the right thing and knowing what the right thing is. With that being said, how important just being an entertainer, just being because when you're a boxer, you're a journalist like myself, you're your own boss. You got to really pave and make your own way to find success. How important is having morals in that journey, and how important is it to always stay true to yourself for people at home.
It's definitely super important because you could lose yourself in it. Not understanding and not knowing where you're going, not having a sense of self, um, you can get lost in the mix. Social media is real big today, so if you're not disciplined, you can get caught up with what the fans are saying, what the naysayers are saying, or if you're outside with the wrong person at the wrong time, you can be caught on social media and it can go everywhere. So, when you have that discipline and then that self-awareness, that self-love, you don't have to really be a follower. You can stay in your lane. It's definitely important to help you keep you on track, whether your goal is to be the number one boxer in the world, the boxer that makes the most money, the boxer that has all the belts, whatever your focus is, that discipline will help you in the long run. They could set you up on the back end for opportunities after boxing is over. You can work and be somebody's manager anywhere. You could be a part of a promotion company, anything, just by having that little bit of discipline. So just make sure you're always aware of yourself, aware of who you have around you, and then just always have that self-love and self-awareness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you for your insight, brother. And for people when they get this at home, he's dropping a lot of gems, man. It's unbelievable, but it's the God honest truth, man. You gotta stay, if you don't know yourself, you'll get lost out here, and there's a lot, it's a lot of lost souls out here. With all that being said though, I do appreciate you for your time, brother.
Appreciate you for
I,
having me.
Oh, come on, of course, man. Big Jersey, man. You know what this is. But June 21st, you got a huge fight. Me and my team plan to definitely be out there. We also plan to honestly be out there to your camp. Get you working out. We plan to interview you in person before the fight happens. I'm excited about this for you and just the impact that this could have on the city and just in general for your legacy, man. And I know you're busy and I know you're doing a lot of things. So you taking this time out to even come chat with me on a Sunday says a lot to your character, brother. And I appreciate you for it all, man. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. And June 21st, be at the Prudential Center. If you need any tickets, anybody just come holler at me. You can find me on Instagram at underscore NIM and number three, underscore NIM number three. Or you can just search up my name, Muadh Abdus-Salaam, and you'll find me there.
Absolutely, man. And if there's anything I could do, we'll be promoting, we'll be throwing it up there for you. And anything I could do to help out in the process, please let me know as well, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Always, brother, always. But yeah, man, we're gonna close this out, and like we said, yeah, June 21st, his debut is happening, and you could catch this on YouTube, Instagram, and we're excited. We're excited for the future and what the future holds for them. My brother.
Yes, sir.